Are you being brainwashed? This is a question I was asking myself last week as I face the inundation of social media opinions, psychological triggers, the mass of information out there online, the groups that I'm part of. And sometimes this whole concept of brainwashed, which I think is interesting, which is why I wanted to explore it today, in terms of being maybe subliminally spoken to on so many levels with all these differing opinions and it clouding my own judgment and actually taking me away from my own intuition. And that's what I want to talk about today, because there's no doubt that we're all being brainwashed in today's world, 100%. And we can see that as a negative or a positive because there's just information, we're taking it in. um, and so what I want to talk about today is how we navigate that by keeping our authentic selves and in touch with our own intuition. So the reason I started to question this was because I saw lots of messages on social media last week. I don't go on social media very often, but I went on last week, and I mean scrolling. I do go on because I've got a business page and I post things and I check comments. But when I'm scrolling, to me, that's different. That's using social media in a different way. And I don't scroll very often, maybe once a week. And I just saw, gosh, in the space of time that I was on it, and it wasn't very long, I just saw so many messages saying, you should make more art, stop being a coward, why are you not making every day? And then another one was, you shouldn't be pricing this way, you should be pricing that way. Another one was, you shouldn't be using galleries, they're a con, it's ridiculous, you should be selling yourself. And there's all these opinions. I think there's a difference between sharing information and then real solid opinions. And I'm not saying people shouldn't have opinions, by the way, because that's the way the world is at the moment. Everyone's entitled to have their opinion on social media. That's a lot of the reason why I don't use it very often anymore, because I find it quite draining listening to everyone's opinions. As interesting as it can be sometimes, there is a place for it, sometimes. But what I found, though, by reading all those differing opinions was then this whole confusion and contemplation of, should I be making art every day? And if, are these people right? And you start to go down a whole maze of questioning your whole existence, the way you do things. And then sometimes as well, it's just not the opinions, it's just other people sharing what they do. And so I'm part of a mastermind, which is incredible because we all share what we're working on. And we share what's working and what isn't working. There's a lot of information, and a lot of the time, if I'm not careful, we can feel all of a sudden like, oh, I should be doing that because they're doing that. Oh, I should be doing this. I should be on this platform. I should be here. And it just gets really overwhelming, confusing, and we start to lose touch with what it is that actually, what is it that I want? And so that's what led me to this conversation today. And my own role in all of this too. I'm a content creator. I have a membership. I put podcasts out in the world. I'm part of that whole, what is it we're going to call it? It's a kind of surge of information, isn't it? And I'm part of that. Now, years ago, when I started 10 years ago, there wasn't that much information out there. And I was very much in a minority of people sharing 10 years ago when I began, compared to what it is today, which is just crazy. And I sometimes question the whole existence of it and whether it's good or bad. But what I do know from sharing content myself is there are always people out there that need it. And I've just been sat reading through testimonials of lives that we've changed and the ways we've impacted people. And one of the things that I aim to do when I'm creating content is to not be so opinionated, rather share what other people are doing and share it in a way that helps you and others take what it is that you need right now and be open to the ways the world works. But really, really what's at the core of this, and that's why I run a event called Design Your Life, is showing people how to use this information for yourself to design your life on your own terms. And that's what's key in all of this. So when I am hearing other people's opinions, seeing what it is I should be doing, or hearing from other people in my mastermind groups, to make sure that I'm staying in complete alignment with myself and reducing the overwhelm and getting away from that feeling of being brainwashed, where for me that means that I've got so inundated with information that I don't know what step to take next, that I don't even know what I want anymore. That to me is when I feel like, oh my gosh, I've been brainwashed. And a lot of the time it's of my own doing, because we are the ones consuming. We are the ones opening ourselves up to scrolling on social media, to being in these masterminds, to being, to soaking it up. And so, which is hard to not to in today's world with the mass of it. So what I've done myself is learn how to handle that. How do I handle being in this world and stay so true and so focused on where it is that I'm going? And for me, there's a couple of things. So one is I get very, very clear on where it is that I am going, so I've got my mission, my vision in my mind. So when I'm in different programs, mastermind groups, my own community, meeting up with people, and I'm consuming and I'm seeing things on social media that work for others, I'm always looking for the things that are going to help me with the one goal that I'm focused on right now and nothing else. So I'm being quite intentional with what I'm looking for. So looking, scrolling, listening with intention. How is this going to help my next one goal? And I'm only going to take that information if it's relevant to that one goal. And that's one way I filter and sift and protect myself and protect the overwhelm. And the second thing that I do, because I don't want to just be so fixated on one goal and then just listening for all the things. Sometimes I am and I don't want to hear anything else, but sometimes, especially right now, I am in a season of being open to different ways of living and being, because I want to up-level my life, and I don't want to be following the crowd, and I don't want to necessarily go down a path because everyone else takes that path. And I'm very conscious that at the moment I feel like I am doing that. I feel that, especially in relation to having a family, being in the school system, I feel like I've definitely been brainwashed in that regard in my personal life. There's a lot of things that I think, I know there's a different way of doing this, but I've got sucked into the system, sucked into the way everyone else does this. So any alternative way just feels very alien and scary. And so because of that, I am keeping a lookout for other ways. So again, though, I'm doing that with intention. So I'm being open to seeing different ways of living, and whether that's through my art and through my personal life. And I'm noticing how things make me feel when I read someone else living their life in a different way, or seeing a picture. How does that make me feel? And if it's feeling exciting, I'm going to bring it into my life somewhere, make a note of it, journal on it. So what I tend to do then with my week is, the majority of the time I'm fixated on the goal, where I'm going, and I leave some space for the other, dreaming, noticing, travel, the way people live, different ways of making art. And that time is spent by either looking on social media. It might be journaling. I like to do that when I go out for a walk. I like to just really connect with bigger dreams and what I've seen this week and how does that feel. And so there's for me then there's this dance between the focus, the goal, only consuming information that's going to help with that. That's the majority of the week for me. I go into my own little world, don't scroll, I'm just there. And then I come out and then have a little bit of time. But I'm not just doing this with no intention. It's really thinking about noticing the things that I'd like to incorporate into my life. Anyway, so this whole then going back to the conversation about being brainwashed. I don't know why I laugh when I say that because it feels so dramatic and like I've been brainwashed. But if we break it down to what it just means seeing a lot of information that's clouding our own judgment, taking us away from our own intuition and making us question things or go down pathways that actually aren't us, they aren't right. And I'm always bringing myself back to that to just check in with myself. And the reason I bring this up too is from my own point of view, but I see it in other people around here, in our community, in friends, where a lot of social media clouds people's judgment of themselves and what it is that's important. And a lot of people reach out to us for help and are relying on other people to guide the way. And that's why we here, United Art Space, are so passionate about giving you back your power. We want you to start to understand that you have the power to live your life on your own terms. And you might feel stuck by money, by time, by responsibilities, but actually, there are ways, there's always a way of even changing your life in a small way towards the direction that you want to go in rather than nothing at all. And we want to empower you to learn how to find your own voice, find your purpose, find your people, and embrace those parts of yourself and grow confidence in yourself and learn how to ask the right questions in your life so that you can find the right people. And then when you find the right people, they're the people you listen to. That's when you're totally going on this pathway then by listening to the right people, not everybody else who doesn't matter. They don't matter. All these other opinions, not important, but these people that understand where I'm trying to go, their opinions are interesting. They're the people that I might listen to. So this is what we want. And by sharing information, our aim is for you to be empowered to take this information, take what you need from it. And that's why we continue to share in this overpopulated world in a way that is not trying to force you to, you should do this, you should do that. It's here's information, and we would love you to learn how to use this information for your own good and for the good of others. So there we go. A little question to ask yourself, am I being brainwashed? And that's not like a negative thing and you should beat yourself up like, oh my gosh, I've let myself get brainwashed and see it as you being a target or anything like that. It's a simple way of just noticing the amount of information, the volume, your clarity around what it is that you want from life. And are you getting derailed by other people and the way they do things? And of course, it's absolutely fine to see someone do something and you try it yourself. There is nothing wrong with that. But it's when we start to get so overwhelmed with ideas and so disconnected from ourselves, that's the danger. So I leave that one with you, that question of the week to ponder, my friends, my lovely, lovely friends. And I'll see you next week. Take care.